Hello, pupils. You're welcome to another wonderful edition of your favorite program, The Classroom in Your Home. A program organized by Lagos State Government and packaged by Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, LASUBEB. The aim is to ensure that you are academically engaged in addition to what you're learning in school. I am Auntie Fumi, your English Studies teacher, and as usual, I am here with your wonderful teachers.
Hello children, I am Uncle Agbaje, your mathematics teacher. But you know me as the mathematician.
Uncle Popo is here, your general studies teacher.
And we also have in the house our hard-working sign language interpreter, Uncle Niyi. Together, we are bringing the classroom into your home. Please stay tuned. Pupils, you are welcome to Auntie Fumi's class. In our English Studies lesson today, we will start the verb tenses series. We will look at verb tenses part 1. Verb tenses part 1. And what are we expecting by the end of today's lesson? You should be able to identify verb tenses, and you should be able to use verbs correctly in their appropriate tenses. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to identify verb tenses. You should be able to use verbs correctly in their appropriate tenses. Are we ready? Then, let's begin. What are verbs? What are verbs? That is looking at the definition of verbs. Verbs are action words. Those are words that expresses action. Action words. Verbs tell us what happens. Verbs tell us what happens. Verbs can as well express a state of being. Let me start all over again. Verbs are action words. Verbs tell us what happens, and verbs can as well express a state of being. Are we together? Good. Let's look at examples of verbs. I eat rice every day. I eat rice every day. What is the action in that sentence? Yes, the action in that sentence. Eat. Eat. I eat rice every day. So the verb in the sentence is eat. The boy slept all day. The boy slept all day. The action in that sentence is slept. As you can see, it has been color-coded. Slept. That is the verb in the sentence. Another example, Mr. Sanwo-Olu became the governor of Lagos State in 2019. Mr. Sanwo-Olu became the governor of Lagos State in 2019. What is the verb in that sentence? Became. Don't forget we said verbs express, or verbs also express state of being. So, here is an example of a verb showing state of being or expressing state of being. Became. Mr. Sanwo-Olu became the governor of Lagos State in 2019. I have 50 naira in my pocket. I have 50 naira in my pocket. The verb or the action word here is have. The verb here is have. Are we together? Okay. Let us note that words like eat, come, dance, sit are action verbs or action words. Words like eat, come, dance, sit, they are action verbs or action words because they express action. Eat is an action. Dance is an action. So words like eat, come, dance, sit are action verbs or action words because they express action. Words like be, have, become, and so on are, I said it before, state of being verbs. They are state of being verbs because they only describe the state of being and do not involve any action. Mr. Sanwo-Olu became the governor of Lagos State in 2019. Become there is the state of being verb because it only describes the state of being and do not involve any action. Now, let's look at verb tenses. Verb tenses. We have examples of verb tenses. The tense of a verb indicates when the action of the sentence takes place. The tense of a verb indicates when the action of the sentence takes place. That is talking about the timing of the action now or of the verb. The action of a sentence can occur in different forms. The action of a sentence can occur in different forms as follows. The simple present tense. The simple present tense. The simple present tense is used to show an action that occurs at regular intervals or an occupation. When we talk about the simple present tense, it is used to show an action that occurs at regular intervals or an occupation. Let's look at examples of the simple present tense. I pray every day. I pray every day. The action there is pray, but it is expressed in the simple present tense because it is an action that occurs at regular intervals, as shown by the word every day. Another example is she sells clothes in the market. She sells clothes in the market. It is an action that occurs at regular intervals. She didn't sell clothes for just one day, but she sells clothes in the market. It's a regular occurrence. They read together always. They read together always. Note here that pray, sells, read, they are expressed in the simple present tense because it is an action that occurs at regular intervals or an occupation. Hand washing keeps us safe. Hand washing keeps us safe. How often do you wash your hands? Regularly? Okay. Are we together? Good. Now let's look at the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense. The present continuous tense tells us about an action that is going on at the time of talking. The present continuous tense tells us about an action that is going on at the time of talking. An action going on at this moment while we are talking. It is usually supported by is or are. It is usually supported by is or are. Did you get that? Okay. Let's look at examples of sentences in the present continuous tense. We are learning right now. Are we learning? Are you sure? Okay, we are learning right now. Mother is cooking in the kitchen. While we are learning, where's your mom? She's in the kitchen cooking. Okay, mother is cooking in the kitchen. The pupils are playing in the garden. The pupils are playing in the garden. Now, let's look at another important tense. That is the simple past tense. The simple past tense. Don't forget we have looked at the simple present tense, the present continuous tense. Now we are looking at the simple past tense. The simple past tense is used for an action that has been completed at the time of speaking. The simple past tense is used for an action that has been completed at the time of speaking. Here are examples of sentences in the simple past tense. Now, this is evening. This is evening. And here is a sentence. I ate yam and egg this morning. That action has been completed. You ate it in the morning. And now it is evening. I danced alone last week. Now I'm talking about it, but it has been completed last week. I danced alone, without nobody. I didn't dance with any other person. I danced alone last week. The virus broke out in China. You know the virus we've been talking about? Of course, the coronavirus. It broke out in China. The residents went into their houses. The residents went into their houses. An action that has been completed. That is where we have words like ate, danced, broke, went, expressed in the simple past tense. Are we together? Now, let's look at the present perfect tense. The present perfect tense. The present perfect tense is used for an action which has just finished. It is formed by using has or have and a past participle form of the verb. When you want to express sentences or a sentence in the present perfect tense form, you use has or have and a past participle form of the verb. Here is what I mean. Okay, let me let you know that no definite time, such as yesterday, last month, at 2 o'clock, and so on, should be used with has or have. Here are examples. I have done the work. I have done the work. Don't forget we said in forming the present perfect tense, you use has or have with the past participle form of the verb. That's why you have plus done. Have plus done. I have done the work. He has worked hard. He has worked hard. Has plus worked. That is the past participle form of work. Has worked. He has worked hard. Scientists have found a cure for the disease. Scientists have found a cure for the disease. Have plus found. Auntie Fumi's class on TV has begun. Auntie Fumi's class on TV has begun. Are we together? Now, it's evaluation time. Today, we've been able to look at the simple present tense, the present continuous tense, the simple past tense, and the present perfect tense. So, how attentive have you been in the course of this lesson? Are you sure? Let's see. For your evaluation, state the tense and use the correct form of verbs in brackets to complete these sentences. Please write only the answer. Your pens down. Let's do the correction together. Now you will see how well you've performed. 4 out of 4. Are you sure? Wow. You're brilliant, you're smart, and you deserve to be celebrated with a cheer. Good job. Now for your homework. Homework time. Identify the tenses of the verbs in the following. You have the next 30 seconds to capture this assignment, and I'll come back to sign out. Well done. But now you must have been able to copy the assignment. And don't forget, when you're submitting your assignments, don't forget to indicate your name, your school, your class, and your local government education authority. Well done. On that note, I say, that's it for today. We have come to the end of the English Studies lesson for today. Hope you had fun learning verb tenses. I did too. But then it's time for me to hand you over to the mathematician, Uncle Agbaje, for another interesting mathematics lesson. But before I go, don't forget, Auntie Fumi loves you and she is always proud of you. Bye.
Hello children, you are welcome to this segment of the program, The Classroom in Your Home. It is mathematics time, and that means it is time to have some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics, we will be learning something quite new. We will be looking at what is called open sentences. Are you eager to know what that is all about? Well, I won't waste too much of your time. Let's just begin. Our learning objectives are thus. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify the terms of an algebraic expression. You've heard of the word algebra before. Well, if it has been scaring you, fear not, my friend. By the end of this lesson, you will realize that algebra is a very easy aspect of mathematics. By the end of the day, you should be able to simplify simple algebraic expressions. And finally, you should be able to solve simple algebraic expressions. All these and more you should be able to do by the end of the lesson and by the time we're done with open sentences in general. Without wasting much time, let us just dive into it. Now let's review some of the basic things which you are expected to have known at this point, and that will be your entry knowledge into algebra. Now, a mathematical expression, what we call an expression, is a combination of symbols or numbers that gives rise to a particular number. I'll take that again. A mathematical expression names a number. For example, all these expressions here, they name the number 8. 7 plus 1 is 8. 19 minus 11 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. 24 divided by 3 is also 8. All these are what we call mathematical expression. Okay? Now, some expressions have letters called variables that are used to hold the place of an unknown number, a number that you don't know. Usually in mathematics, we use a letter to represent it, and it could be A, B, C, or D, and these letters are called variables. Now, when you have an expression that has a letter somewhere, it is what we call an algebraic expression. Algebraic expression. For instance, all these are algebraic expressions. This one has a letter and the number x plus 16, and what that means is that x plus 16, I have a number that I don't know, but I want to increase it by 16. That is 16 more than some number. 12 minus y. It means that I want to reduce 12 by a number that I don't know yet, or subtract a number from 12, that is 12 minus y. 6 times k means a number multiplied by 6, and that number is k. We don't know what it is, but when we know, we'll multiply it by 6. Also, 9 divided by k. That means I want to divide 9 by a number that I do not know yet, but would know it in the course of the lesson. But in the meantime, 6 times k, we don't usually use multiplication symbol in algebra. See what you call 6 times k will be written as 6k. 2 times a will be written as 2a, and so on like that. And 9 divided by k will be written as 9 all over k. So keep that in mind as we proceed. Now, expressions like 5y, 3k, 40, 7n are called algebraic terms. They are expressions, but when they are single, a combination of one letter and one number like that, you call them a term. The number before the letters are called the coefficients of the letters. So in this case, 5 is the coefficient of y, 3 is the coefficient of k, 4 is the coefficient of t. You should have been taught all this. Now, in an algebraic expression, or indeed in any expression, the terms of the expression are separated by plus and minus. So for example, every term has a positive or negative sign, and that positive or negative sign for the term is located on the left side of the term. So take it from the top. 5y is a term, 3k is a term, 40 is a term, 7n is a term. And look at this expression. This expression contains 2 terms, and the 2 terms are 5y and 4k. But when you want to identify the term, you have to identify every term with their sign. So don't forget that every term will have a sign that is either positive or negative. So in the case of 4k, the sign is plus. In the case of 5y, even though we do not see any sign, when you don't see a sign to the left of the term, the sign is positive. So in the case of this particular expression, the terms are plus 5y because there is a plus to the left, but we don't usually write it. And then we have plus 4k. So this plus is for 4k and not y. It's very important that you're able to identify every term with their sign because of the work that we're going to be doing with it. So this has 3 terms, and the terms are, what sign do you think is to the left of 7? That's plus 7. So we have plus 7n, that's the first term. The second term is minus 3t, and the third term is plus 8y. So this is an expression that has 3 terms. Okay, keep that in mind as we proceed. You will have enough time to practice with the examples and the classwork. Now, like terms are terms that have the same letters. For instance, 40, 90, and t, they all have t. So these are what we call like terms. They have the same letters. Unlike terms do not have the same letters attached. This one has n, this one has t, this one has y. And so they are unlike terms. They don't have the same variable or letter attached to them. Okay, when we want to add, we can only add or subtract like terms. Times that are not alike, we cannot add them. If somebody says in a bag there are 3 pencils and 4 books, how many altogether? You can't say 7 books, and you cannot say 7 pencils. There are 3 pencils and 4 books, and that's just it. You cannot add them together to form one homogeneous entity. So we will be working with now simplifying algebraic expression. That is our main focus. When we say you should simplify an algebraic expression, it means to reduce it to a point where you can no longer reduce it further, to the lowest point, to the smallest, most compact form possible. And we do this by rearranging the terms of the expression so that we can bring all like terms together and then add them. Don't forget, we can only add or subtract like terms. So we simplify algebraic expressions by rearranging the terms, and the ones that are alike, we merge them together. You will see this in practice very soon. Now, this is a typical problem that has to do with simplification. This says simplify 2a plus 3b plus 3a. And that is like saying add together 2 apples, 3 bananas, and 3 apples. So intuitively, you should see that altogether there will be 5 apples. So you have to add apples to apples, jumping over the bananas. So you have 5 apples and 3 bananas all together. That's exactly what we're going to be doing with simplification of algebraic expressions. So now let's move on. This first example says simplify 3m plus 2a plus 4m. Already, you can already see the result should be out for you, because this is like saying simplify 3 mangoes plus 2 apples plus 4 mangoes. How many mangoes altogether? How many apples altogether? Knowing that we cannot add apples to mango, only the mangoes will be added to each other. So let's look at the procedure. First, we rewrite the expression 3 mangoes, 2 apples plus 4 mangoes. Then we identify the terms. Now the terms are plus 3m plus 2a and then plus 4m. Then we rearrange to bring all the m's together. That's why 4m comes down here, and you remember that we have to take it with the plus. Wherever 4m goes, the plus must follow. You must not leave that sign behind. It's like, you want to change your seat, you have to carry your bag along with you. If you leave your bag there, you will not have something to work with in your new seat. Okay, so the 4m goes with the plus and comes nearer to this 3m, and so we have 3m plus 4m. That's like 3 mangoes plus 5 mangoes. Then 2a occupies the third space, and that has to go with the sign which is plus 2a. Now it's easier for us to measure like terms. 3m plus 4m, that gives us 7m here, and then this 2a, I have nothing to merge it with, so I just bring it down plus 2a, so this 7m. So our final result is 7m plus 2a. 7 mangoes plus 2 apples. That is quite intuitive. Let's look at the next one. This one says simplify 6a minus 2b plus 3a. And so again, we rewrite the expression 6 apples minus 2 bananas plus 3 apples. That's the saying I have 6 apples. Now from 6 apples, remove 3 bananas. Of course, that's not going to be possible. Then add 3 apples. So altogether, what do we have? Well, here it goes. Identify the terms, and in this case the terms are 6a, then minus 2b, then plus 3a. Remember that the sign is always on the left. Then we'll rearrange. So all the ones that have a, I've put a blue circle around them. Rearranging, 3a comes to the second position, 6a comes down, then 3a comes beside it. So I'm going to have 6 apples and 3 apples. Then minus 2 bananas, that comes down. So we have 6 apples plus 3 apples, altogether 9 apples. So now adding 6 apples plus 3 apples, we'll get 9 apples, and then I still have to subtract 2 bananas. 9 apples minus 2 bananas, that's our final result, 9a minus 2b. So I believe that you would be able to do some of this on your own. Well, no problem, my friend. You will have enough practice questions on our Bitly account. Just go to bit.ly/LASUBEB-tests and click test 1. You will have enough practice questions. Now let's move on to another aspect of the work, which is mathematical equations. We'll run through this, but we'll still have enough time to work with it in the next lesson. Mathematical equations is a mathematical sentence saying that 2 expressions are equal to each other. For example, this is what we call an equation. It is not an expression because you have the equality sign. And that is saying that this expression and this expression are equal to each other. So a mathematical equation is a sentence that says that 2 expressions are equal to each other. And this is another equation. This expression on the left is equal to this expression on the right. And so equation has 2 parts. You have the left part, and then you have the right part. Sort of like, when you are home, and then when you are in school, or when you are in your own country, and when you go to another country. Okay, keep that in mind because we'll be using that. Let's look at how to solve the mathematical equation. To solve the mathematical equation, you will have a variable, a letter like an X or A or B or C. To solve it means to find the number that A or B or C will represent that will make the whole equation to be true. So let's see. And to solve that equation, what we do is similar to what we did when we were simplifying expressions. We just basically rearrange the terms, identify the terms, collect like terms together, and rearrange. But the only snag here is that you have to be sure whether you're on the left side of the equality sign or you're on the right side. And now you're going to change, when you have to move from the left to the right, your status has to change. So if it's a positive number or a positive term, when it goes over, it becomes a negative term. So sort of like when you are in your own country, then you are a citizen. But when you go to the next country, you are no longer a citizen, you are a foreigner. Let's see this in action. This example says we should solve this. And that means that we have to find, x is the letter there. So we have to find a number that x represents such that this equation will be true. And that's like saying I multiply 2 by a number, 2 times x, 2 by a number, then I subtract 5. My answer is 11. What is the number? Okay, you've played this game with your uncle or your auntie before. I think of a number, I had this, I subtract this, I get this. Well, this is where the game is derived from. But you will be able to solve the problem in that game by the end of the lesson. So let's see it quickly. The first step is that we rewrite the equation. Now we will identify the terms. So in this case, we have 2x, then we have minus 5, and then we have 11. Now don't forget that 2x, the sign will be positive if you don't see a sign on the left. 11, the sign is also positive if you don't see a sign on the left. So now that we have identified the terms, the next thing to do is to rearrange the terms. And we are going to rearrange in such a way that we'll take all the numbers to one side, all the algebraic terms to one side. Well, this is the only term that is an algebraic term there, the only one that has a letter. Let's leave it on the left. This one does not have a letter. Let's take it to the right. Here, it is negative. It's a foreigner. When it goes to the other country, it becomes a citizen. So when I take this minus 5 to the right side of the equality sign, it becomes plus 5. So let's see. So minus 5 goes here and becomes plus 5. Okay, it becomes plus 5. Then 11 will come down. Equality sign will come down. Minus 5 is no longer here. It has become plus 5 on the other side. Then we'll bring down 2x. Now we can simplify further. We match like terms. 11 plus 5 gives us 16 here. On this side, there is nothing to match. I just have 2x. So we are saying 2x is 16, and the answer should be quite clear. I multiplied 2 by a number to give me 16. What is the number? 2 times what will give me 16? You already know, but in case you don't know, we are going to be dividing by the coefficient of the letter, the number beside the letter. This is 2 beside x, so we divide this side by 2, and we will divide the other side by 2 to get our answer. So sort of like this. So divide by the coefficient of x. 2 is the coefficient, 2x divided by 2. On this side, we will have 16 also divided by 2. And the reason why we are doing it is because we want to remove the 2 so that we will know, we'll let the x stand alone and we'll get x. So when 2 divides 2 on this side, 2 divides 16, I get 8. And finally, on the left, I have x. On the right, I have 8. And so x is equal to 8. Simple as you have it. Now, this trick is basically the same. Identify the like terms and rearrange. If you have to take a term over the equality sign, then it will change the sign. If it's positive, it will change to negative. If it is negative, it will change to positive. So now let's see, you circle the result. X is 8. Let's just look at one more example. Oh, it's your turn. You should be able to solve this using the technique that we have used. So just rearrange, identify the terms, rearrange. If you are taking over the equality sign, then you change the sign. And when you are left with a number and the coefficient equal to another number, divide by the coefficient, you get your answer. You have 30 seconds for this. Begin. Alrighty then. Well, like I said, we will have enough time to practice more of this in the next lesson. But let's quickly look at the correction to this. 7m plus 3 is 24. We'll begin by rewriting the equation. Then we identify the terms. The terms are 7m plus 3. On the right side of the equality sign, we have 24. Now 7m has a number, has a letter, it's an algebraic term. This one does not, it's a number, this one is also a number. So I take the plus 3 to the right side where all the numbers will be. And so I'm going to have plus 3 will change to negative 3 like this. So plus 3 will give me on this side minus 3. Then 24 will come down. Then minus 3 is no longer here. 7m comes down. Then I merge like terms. 24 minus 3 obviously will give us 21. I'll write it on the right side. So 21 here, then equality sign comes down. Here I have 7m. Now 7 times something is 21. To know what that thing is, I will divide both sides by 7 because 7 is the coefficient of the variable. Now 7 divided by 7 will give us 1. 7 goes there 3 times. So on the left I have m, on the right I have 3, and that means that m is equal to 3. And if you want to be sure, let's say if m is 3, then 7 times m will be 7 times 3, and that is 21. 21 plus 3 is equal to 24, and that is why you have 24 on the right side. You will have enough time to practice, like I have said, with the homework which is coming right up. Practice, use the same techniques. Copy this down in 20 seconds, and I'll be right back to sign off. Alrighty then, we have come to the end of the day's lesson. Ensure that you do your homework, and of course visit our bit.ly site bit.ly/LASUBEBTEST. Click on test 1 and you will find more practice questions. It's time for me to hand you over to Uncle Popo for the general studies lesson. Till I come your way in the next class, remain wonderful mathematicians. Bye bye now.
Hello pupils, you are welcome to General Studies class. I am Uncle Popo. Uncle Popo is here. Your response should be, I am also here. Then when I say we are here together, then you say 100% attention. Uncle Popo is here. Good. We are here together. 100% attention. Excellent. That means you are promising to give me 100% attention in today's lesson. Our topic for today, our subject of focus for today is basic science and technology. Basic science and technology is the subject for today. And before we start, let's do this together. Your response should just be an accident or a way to prevent accident. That's what you need to say. After any statement that I say to you, you just tell me your response should just be an accident or a way to prevent accident. Okay, the first one. When somebody is hit by a motor vehicle or tricycle, is that an accident or a way to prevent accident? Good, an accident. Okay, when somebody mistakenly cuts him or herself with any sharp object, is that an accident or a way to prevent accident? Good, an accident. What about when somebody carefully walks gently on the staircase? Is that an accident or a way to prevent accident? Good. When you read the manual of any electronic gadgets and before you put it into use, good, a way to prevent accident. I love that. Now, having laid the foundation on what accident and ways to prevent accident are, so let's go into today's topic and learn more about safety. Our topic for today is safety. Say that, safety. What are the learning objectives? By the end of the lesson, you should be able to define safety and accident, and you should be able to describe some common causes of accident and how to prevent them, and you should be able to list and identify items in a first aid box. When we say safety, what do we mean? Safety is a condition which ensures that a person is not injured in body or mind. Safety is a condition which ensures that a person is not injured in body or mind. We can also say safety is what you do to prevent accident. Whatever you do to prevent accident, we regard to it as safety. Now let's look at, we're still talking about safety. We are safe when we prevent accident from happening. We are safe when we prevent accident from happening. It's good for us to prevent accident from happening than going for treatment. So safety is better. What are accidents? Accidents are unexpected events that cause damage or death. Accident again. Accidents are unexpected events that cause damage or death. So let's move on. Now this is an accident. You can see the house. Let's look at accident can happen anywhere. It could be at home, at work, on the playground, on the road. So different places accident can happen. Could be. So some common accidents. What are the common accidents that we are aware of? The first one, trips and falls. Say this young man on the staircase. I know some of you had experienced that kind of accident before, mistakenly. That's trips and falls. Next one is cuts, bruises, sprains, burns, maybe through sharp object or through fire or carelessness. We could have experiences cuts, bruises, sprains, burns in our body. That's another common accident. Moving on to the next one, drowning. You can see this man. That's why it's advisable that you do not swim in any pool if you don't have the experience of how to swim, or we don't have adults guiding you in any swimming pool, so you don't move close. So drowning is one of the common accidents we know. Suffocation is another example. Next one is collision. I know some of you have seen this on the road where two vehicles collided together. So collision is another common example of accident. Fire is another one. Likewise, poisoning, maybe eating or drinking expired food could cause damage to our body. That's another example of accident. Now, looking at all these examples of accidents or common examples of accident, now let's look at the causes of accident. What are the causes of accident? One, the first one is dangerous objects lying around in the homes or offices. Dangerous objects lying around in the homes or offices, that's one of the causes, because when you have dangerous objects on the floor, it could cause accident. So we should avoid that. Next one is lifting heavy loads without help. You do not show that you have that muscle, you have that strength. If the load is more than what you can carry, you request for help. So it's not good to lift heavy load without help. That's another cause of accident. Next one is leaving electric gadgets plugged in after use. Leaving electric gadget plugged in after use. When you are not using any electric gadget, you should unplug. You should not leave it like that. It could cause accident. Next, disobeying traffic rules, especially to the adults. Disobeying traffic rules, when you are not to go, you go, it could cause accident that way. So that's another one. Improper monitoring of children at the pool. This one goes to the adults too. When you are not monitoring the children at the pool, it could cause accident because you are there to monitor them and you are doing another thing, accident could occur. And the consumption of expired or spoiled food. That's why it's advisable for you to look at the expiry date of any food you want to eat so that you won't consume expired or spoiled food. So consumption of expired or spoiled food could cause accident, it could cause damage to our body. Now, let's look at the methods of preventing accident. We don't want this accident to happen. How do we avoid it? How do we prevent it from happening? I think prevention is really, really better. So let's look at the methods of preventing accident. And when we are talking about that, we are talking about safety precautions. When I say safety precautions, what do we mean? Safety precautions are the things which we should do in order to prevent accident. Like when I started, I said some certain things that a way to prevent accident, those ones are safety precautions. We have discussed that when I started the lesson. So they are the things which we should do in order to prevent accident. So let's look at them so that we won't have accidents at all. Number one, clean up spills immediately and put objects in their appropriate positions. Maybe the clothes, the dishes, or any object you are using at home. After you have finished using them, you put them in the right places. Next one is always ask for assistance when moving heavy loads. Like I told you, heavy loads, you do not need to show that you have that strength, you are muscular enough to carry heavy loads that is more than your ability. So you ask for assistance to move heavy load. Next one is keep electronics away from water and unplug when not in use. Any electronic you are not using, you should unplug it, and keep electronics away from water. It's dangerous. So next one is keep drugs, cleaning materials, and other poisonous materials out of reach of children. Drugs, that's why on some drugs you see keep away from children, because it's dangerous. So you keep drugs, cleaning materials, and other poisonous materials out of reach of children. That's one of the safety precautions. Still talking about safety precautions, next one is obey traffic rules at all times. It's very important you obey traffic rules at all times. Next one is provide proper monitoring of children at the pool and playgrounds. It's very important too. The children need to be monitored while at the pool or playing at playgrounds. So by doing that, we are trying to prevent accident from happening. Always consume unexpired and fresh food items. Do not say you are hungry or the food it looks attractive and you want to eat or drink such food. Check the expiry date and do not consume an expired food. Give first aid to an injured person. So that's another safety precaution. Now let's talk about first aid. At home, at school, in places of work, we have what we call first aid box. And when we say first aid, what do we mean? Any appropriate action taken before an injured person gets proper medical treatment is called first aid. Appropriate action taken before an injured person gets proper medical treatment is called first aid, or any treatment given to an injured person before taken to the hospital for proper medical treatment. That is first aid. And now when we talk about first aid, we have some items. We need to talk about first aid box. Talking about first aid box, we have some items in first aid box. The items to be used for first aid are called first aid equipment. Those items in the first aid box, they are called first aid equipment. They are usually kept in a special box, which is called first aid box. Let's look at the items found in the first aid box. We have a guidance card. That's one of the items in the first aid box. Adhesive dressings, I think you can see the picture, is one of the items in the first aid box. Eye wash solution, look at the picture. That's also an item in the first aid box. Tell me more. I think you have them. Bandages, correct. That's another item. What about safety pins? Good. That's another one. Your disposal gloves. Exactly. Yes. It's one of the items there. A pair of scissors is very needed there too. It's one of the items in first aid box. Cotton wool. Yes. It's also an item in the first aid box. Plasters. Good. That's another item. And that's it for today. In today's lesson, we have talked about accident, safety precautions, and the items in the first aid box. Evaluation time, activity time. Now, I have 3 questions. The first question, what is accident? Number 2, List 3 items that could be found in a first aid box. Question number 3. List 2 examples of accidents. You have just 40 seconds to attempt this. Uncle Popo is here. I believe you are still there. So when you are still there, let's mark together. Accident is an unexpected event that causes damage or death. Accident is an unexpected event that causes damage or death. Give a tick. Number 2, 3 items that could be found in first aid box. We have them many. Guidance cards, safety pins, eye wash solution, bandages, plaster, scissors, cotton wool. Just 3 of them, you are correct. List 2 examples of accident. It could be trips and falls, burns, cuts, bruises, drowning, food poisoning, suffocation, and so on. We all know examples of accident. So that's it for today. Until next time, Uncle Popo says, keep on studying. Bye.
Dear pupils, we have come to the end of another beautiful edition on the classroom in your home.
Beautiful packaged and wonderful indeed. It's been exciting for us teaching you, bringing all these new lessons to you. We hope that you have enjoyed yourselves as well. Now remember that practice is the mother of perfection.
Yes.
In order for you to be perfect at what you do, you need to practice all that you have learned. So for this reason, we have put together a plethora of online assessments for you to practice with. You can access these tests using the link bit.ly/LASUBEB-tests. The link again is bit.ly/LASUBEB-tests. These tests are our way of knowing how well you are performing because we're interested in monitoring your progress.
Taking the online assessment is based on if you have access to Android or smartphones. If not, you don't have a problem. Just send your questions, your comments, and your homework to 081 50 86 5663. Please do not call that line. And when you're sending your assignments, make sure you indicate your name,
Your school,
Your class,
and your local government education authority. That is the only way by which you can be identified and rewarded accordingly.
Today's lessons are on Lagos UBEB YouTube channel for you to watch over and over again at your own preferred time. Subscribe to Lagos UBEB YouTube channel to get notification when new videos are uploaded. The classroom in your home could be watched live on Facebook. The same time airing on television through the page showing on the screen.
Until our next edition, when we shall meet again on another beautifully packaged The Classroom in Your Home, make sure you do your homework.
Wash your hands regularly.
keep practicing and keep studying hard. But above all, stay
Stay safe.
because at LASUBEB,
We leave no child behind.